Mr. Secretary, I want to ask you again about this cap and trade system. Many, if not most, of the investment community, the CAP organization, which are several Fortune 500 companies that have been urging your administration to embrace a cap and trade system, they believe it's necessary both from an environmental and an economic standpoint. And the people I'm listening to are the people in these cutting-edge companies who are developing advanced solar photovoltaics,
Right.
enhanced geothermal, wave power, solar thermal plants, a whole host of new technology, the electrification of the automobile. What they tell me is that we are missing an economic opportunity by not adopting a cap and trade system. And what they tell me is that we are in a race. We're in a race against Germany, Denmark, Spain to see who's going to be developing these technologies to sell to China and India. India, when I was there, they have 400 million people that don't have access to a light bulb. They're going to want electricity.
Right.
The question is, who's going to provide them the clean energy technologies to do that? Is it going to be us, or is it going to be Spain or Germany? And right now we're losing out to those countries because they have policies that drive investment into these clean energy technologies. Now that's what the clean energy CEOs and the investment community is telling me. Why do they get this and this administration not get this as seeing this as an economic opportunity for us, and why we should lead the world? Why do they understand that, and your administration does not understand that?
I don't know how to answer it any differently than than I've already answered it, Mr. Inslee. I think the question gets to be, how do we bring all of the countries of the world together? And the President has, I think, wisely developed a program for getting the largest, I think that's the largest 17 or 18 economies, the major economies of the world, to get them together to make an agreement on what the approach, what the world's goal ought to be, and what each country's goal ought to be, and he will be prepared to commit to that at that point in time. And there is a G8 meeting that is supposed to occur, I think, in early July. And if we are successful in getting a response from the other countries, this country will respond accordingly.
Well, clearly we all have a stake in this, and everybody needs to act at some point. But there's two major flaws with that. Number one, if we'd adopted the Bush administration model of democracy, we would still be trying to reach a global goal of everybody becoming a democracy before. We just went ahead and did it in 1776 because we decided to lead the world. And I think that's the policy of America, that we ought to be leading the world. But secondly, and just as more importantly, this strategy, if you call it that, of the administration is we don't do anything until Bangladesh signs on to an agreement, is a huge economic failure, because we are not going to develop the clean energy technologies to sell to the world if we wait for the entire world to get on board. I look at this as losing an economic opportunity while we'll wait for the rest of the world. And I just don't know why the administration cannot understand that, of what it is to lose economic opportunity. Why don't you agree?
I don't know how to be any clearer than it was. These are the major economies of the world. I think there are 17 or 18 of them. They include places like China, India, Brazil, Mexico, and we are making some progress. Good.
So you're willing to give away a market to sell China clean energy technology. You're willing to give that away to Spain and Germany, who are now taking advantage of our failure to act on this.
Not in my view.
Well, that's what's happening. Germany, we used to be the leader in solar photovoltaic. Now Germany is, and the reason is they've adopted a cap and trade system. They've adopted a feed-in tariff, something I'll be introducing shortly, and we've dropped back to number 5 or 6. And now they are leading in selling product to China because this administration has failed to act, and they're giving away those markets.